Let's look in a bit more detail at lists, list functions and slicing. So here's some basics. We can use in, so in this list A is in the list, that's true. D is in the list, that's not true, so false. D not in list is also true, it's not in the list. So we can use in and not in. Len, short for length, gives us the length of the list, how many elements are there. And also we can concatenate using the plus symbol, so we can just add two lists together. So here we have A, B, C, D, E, F. Add them together. Rather than adding, we can multiply. So here we've got A and B times 2, so we have AB, AB. And also we have a list of just a number 1. We multiply that 5, and we have 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So let's have a look at slicing. So sometimes you just want a piece, a slice, rather than everything. So here we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, and we only want B, C and D. So we just want to slice the pie. So how do we do that in lists? Well, here we have a list of A, B, C, D, E, F called my list. Now we know we can use the index, so if we use the index 1, 2 and 3, we get B, C and D. So is there any way we could put those three together? We can. So my list, we can use this slice, and it's from element 1 to element 4 in square brackets. So we have the first number up to the last number with a colon, but it doesn't include the last number. So how do we work out where to start and finish in this slice? Well, the easiest way is to think of where we're slicing from and to. So in this example you can see our list A, B, C, D, E, F, and we want to take B, C and D. So if you look at the top numbers, it's from 1 to 4. So therefore that makes our slicing a lot easier. So if you look at our list, we can number where the list element begins or ends and use that to help us guide us to where the slice begins and ends. Another way is to think of our pie. So here our pie starts at 0, we have 6 elements, so it finishes at 6. So if we go 1 from 4, we can see our output is B, C, D. If we go from 2 to 5, we have C, D and E, and 2 to 3 will be C. So it's quite simple when we look at this pie. We can look at the other diagram. We can see A, B, C is from the start 0 to 3. Quite straightforward. We look at our pie, 0 to 3, A, B, C. If we're going from the start, we don't need to put the 0 in. In the square brackets, in the second example, it just has colon 3. So if there's no number before the colon, it goes from the beginning. Here we want to cut or slice the last 3 elements. So this is from 3 to 6. We can look at our pie, 3 to 6, straightforward. And again, if we don't want to put 6 in here, if we just want to go to the last element, the end of the list, then we can just use a colon and don't need to put the last number. So my list 3 colon is the same DEF as 3 colon 6. So there's slicing. What happens if we just put a colon, goes from the beginning to the end? It makes a copy of the list. Here we have 0 to 6, or we have just a colon. It's the same. Let's look at the list functions. Append. Append adds on elements to a list. So we have ABC, We append D and E, and now we have a list A, B, C, D and E. Extend is a bit different. Here we're extending a list by another list called B list with D, E, F, and the output, as you see, is just one list. So two lists are concatenated together with extend. So extend and append are different. If we append the second list rather than extend it, now we have a list inside our original list. It's a nested list, so that's different. Instead of having 6 elements in one list, we've got 4 elements in the main list, and the last element in that list is another list. So be careful not to mix up append and extend. So a summary of that is, if you just want to add on one element at a time, use append. If you want to concatenate lists, use extend. Sort. So here we have a list of letters. We could have numbers if you like. We just use the sort function, and now they're all sorted. Notice the word sort followed by brackets. When we're using these functions, we have these brackets. Here we've got index. Where is this value? So C is at the second value. So when we print index, it's going to give us a number 2. Here we've got insert. So it inserts at the value 3, the index position 3, which here is after the C element. So here we have our list with letter Z put in after the letter C. Remove. Again, we have the word remove with brackets, and the element that we want to remove is E. So that gets taken out. That's the remove function. Pop is quite similar. We can pop this, meaning taking out, and here we take out the second, or the element in the position, the index 2, which is C. So that prints, not the list, but that prints what we've popped out, which is the letter C. Clear just clears the list, empties it of all the values. That's a clear function. And reverse, again we have the reverse word with the brackets, and that takes their elements and puts them in the reverse order. Here's some useful tips. We can swap elements in our list rather than creating a temporary value, which we do in other programming languages. We could just put in 2 elements. So here we have my list 1 and my list 2, and then we're going to make them equal my list 2, my list 1. So 1 and 2 goes to 2 and 1. So basically in our example, the 2 elements are swapped round. None and is none. In this example, rather than have lowest, what's our lowest element? We can use the word none, which doesn't really have a value. And then in the example here, we've got if lowest is none, which it is, lowest equals the minimum of my list, which is a function called minimum, which finds the lowest value. So we have 2 things here. We have this word none if we kind of want a value that's not a value, and we've got is none. So therefore we can use the word is in a condition. Not used that much, but it's used in this example. Okay, time for some practice. Double each value in the list X. So X is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to double each one, so the output would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Find the lowest value in a list without using the minimum function. So here we have x and the lowest number in there is -3. So how would you find that? Swap the negative values into positive values in the list. So here we have two minus numbers, -3 and -2.5. We're going to change them to their positives. So the output would be 5, 2, 3, 2.5, 2.5. Swap the first and last elements in this list. So here we have 5 and 2.5 as the first and last elements, and we're going to swap them round. Finally, we're going to use some slicing. Swap the first two and the last two elements in the list. Remember, we want you to use slicing for this. So it's not straightforward, so you might have to do this in a couple of stages. So have a think about that. Okay, well, I hope you managed to do them yourselves. Let's go through the answers. We're going to double each value in the list, so we can do a for loop. So we look in the list x, and each element in here we call I, and we're just going to multiply that by 2. So we print that, and here's our output, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's quite straightforward. The lowest value. Well, the lowest value is a minus, so how do we start? We're going to use that none value. So we make lowest equals none. So we're using a for loop. And when a number, if lowest is none, we want a variable called lowest. We want it to equal the first number, so it's going to equal that 5. After that, we've got elif, and when the number is lower than the lowest, then we make the lowest that number. So we're going to go through, so lowest is be equal to 5, then 2, then -3, and then stay -3 the last two. So the output will be -3. Swap the negative values into positive values. So again we use a for loop. We're going to check the value is less than 0 and then times it by -1, and that will make the negative into positives. Swap the first and last elements in list x. So here we're going to change the element that's 1. So we've got the first element x0, the last element which is the length of x -1, and then we're going to change that, so we swap them round the positions. So we have length x -1, x0, and swap that into the first values of 0 and length x -1. So those swap the values. So that's using index and the swapping that we showed you before. Now this is a bit more confusing. Swap the first two and last two elements in a list x using slicing. So we want 5 and 2 to be the last two elements and 2.51 to be the first two elements. So you might want to check to see how you do that. Well, here's how you get the first two elements. Can you remember? :2 from the start. We don't need to put 0 in. When we want to go to the end, we don't need to put the final number in. And one way to find the second element from the end is we have the length -2. So if the length is 6, we take 2 away, it's 4. So 4 to the end would be E and F in this example. So we use these two values, and now we want to swap them. So we have those two values, and then we equal, and then we change the order, and those will swap them round. Okay, if you got that correct, well done. Okay, if you liked the video, please click on like, and again, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video, and please join us for the next one. Goodbye for now.